So I want to make a review on the Holobrite Pixie lantern. That's this toy right here. Some of you parents may be considering this, or you might receive it as a gift. And if you're like me and you want to know what's safe for our children for what it's worth, I would say it's a hard pass on this toy. I'm coming from a biblical worldview. Of course, if you've got a different worldview, then by all means, you're going to have a different standard for testing things. Now, I'll get into what the toy is like, and then I'll share a bit of my philosophy afterwards about some things. So, that being said, this was gifted to us since our daughter has a birthday in December before Christmas. However, we already had an idea about this toy. We saw it in some commercials, and we thought, no. And of course, as we played with this for about 30 minutes, it just reinforced our opinion. Now, we're not those kind of Christians that go, my wife and I, we don't go, just because it's got pixies and magic, pass. It's the fact of how it's approaching those things that's concerning. And so, when you start this toy up, you're building friendship points with this pixie, and she asks you, her name's Ren, some pretty casual questions. What's your favorite color, your favorite food, animal, etc. And she's got a little bit of sass, which, our daughters, she's got enough of that already at 5, but that's not what sold me as a no. It's what continues on. If you get enough friendship points, she tells you she's going to leave her world to come to our world, and she won't be able to talk to us the same way that she does when she's in here. So when you turn the key, she comes out, and it's just got this strange elf on a shelf vibe going on. Animism, where you have a inanimate object that has a spirit dwelling in it. And that's just not something I want my daughter to be around, I don't want that to be baked into her mind. And so we put the doll back in. We're like, all right, what's next? And we start playing some more games. There's a spell game, and it sounds pretty casual. All she's saying is fire, water, air, earth, and then repeat. Well, what she's doing is she's teaching you to get comfortable with incantations, spell casting. And if you're familiar with astrology uses a lot of elemental language. So this is just giving your child the building blocks to evolve eventually into the new agey world of all these books and practices and meditation and astrology, horoscopes, all that, divination. And it's just not a book it's not a toy I'm comfortable with my daughter playing with. And then there was an option to unlock meditation, which I had already spent enough time. I had enough points to buy a kitty. I was trying to save up enough points just to see how do all these things interact with these kids. Because I was like, what, we might as well do some digging. We got the toy on us before we return this. And so, yeah, I can't imagine. It probably has parallels to chakras, the several chakras, or however many Far Eastern religion has. And getting your kids to just practice meditation in a cute veil of pixie magical world. She's also really good at repeating magical jargon. With my child's precious mind, she's baking the language and jargon into her, if she were to continue playing this, to just get comfortable with all this supernatural stuff that isn't built upon the biblical worldview. And then lastly, where I ended was just talking with her. There's an option to just talk with her, and you get binary yes or no options. And there was a joke about a witch that I had her tell me. And it's just getting your kid casual with witches and that world. You know, you should care about witches and love them. And if you, you know, have a fruitful conversation with one to try to witness to them, that's fine. But this is trying to drop a pagan environment of divination, meditation, being enslaved really to all this paganism. And it's going to teach your kids to look towards these things for answers rather than Christ and his word. So now let's get into some philosophy here, and I'll end. I'm not one of those Christians that's like, it's got pixies and magic in it, my kids can't play with this. No. If anything, those things in their proper place are helpful. You look at Tolkien, Carl Jung, C.S. Lewis, brilliant thinkers of the Christian faith, biblical worldviews, especially Tolkien and C.S. Lewis. They wrote mythical works. They understood, all these men, that mythology, the pagan world, although it's not exactly true, it's based on some truth. The biblical worldview is the true myth that these spin off of. Because they understood that we do live in a magical universe. It's got the celestial spheres. It's got angels and demons. It's got elemental spirits. It's got cryptids like the Rahab, or not the prostitute, but the Psalms talk about a water dragon, Rahab, and the Leviathan. So there are supernatural things in their proper place. That's okay in the biblical worldview, but we don't dabble with it. And when you read Chronicles of Narnia, you read Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, it doesn't leave you going, man, I really want to practice spell incantations or rune word making, or you know, I want to get into divination and meditation. It doesn't leave you like that. It makes you go, wow, what creative thinkers. And I could see biblical motifs woven throughout this, despite using mythology as an analog to communicate their stories. So there's nothing wrong with the mythological world if it's in its proper place. But this toy does not teach mythology in that sense. It teaches it to get your child to be fascinated with the dark realm of all those things I've listed. So 8 minutes in, I think that's more than enough time. I've shared enough on this thing. Return it. And the good thing is, most of the big stores don't feel like you're obligated to keep this if somebody buys it for you. They'll give you credit for it if you don't have a receipt. But thankfully, the person that bought this for our kid, we were gentle and respectful. We shared our thoughts, and they were like, yeah, return that. So sorry. And but I let them know, hey, it's so nice of them to think about our kid to get them this hot ticket item. But this is definitely something we don't want our children to have. So, all right. Thanks for watching. Hopefully that was helpful. God bless.